Okay, I'm live. Gonna post to the regular social media pages and some of the new ones, and I'll be getting into that actually as people start trickling into the stream. Still gonna maintain a presence on the dominant players, obviously, but I'm definitely gonna start, I think, focusing my attention and my endeavors on some of these alternative social media platforms because, to tell you the truth, I'm starting to gain a little more traction on some of these alternative platforms. At the same time, losing a substantial portion of my audience on these dominant players. So, like I said, I don't really care much for, first of all, just functioning totally in an echo chamber, or not having at least some semblance of an audience. I don't expect it to be huge, right? But I would expect to at least see some kind of growth on the big player platforms. Like I say, don't care where anyone wants to place the blame. If no one wants to own up to any of their personal responsibility, it's not my fault, Bennett. I do everything right to try to spread your channel around and all that. I mean, like I say, forget about the blame game. In reality, it's just wiser for me to, like I say, kind of start to do that transition. So let me get this sent out to these other social media platforms, actually. All right. Let's put this on Gab too. I've only just started actually posted some things on Locals, Dave Rubin's social media platform, but I've been getting notifications and there's lots of cool features in that. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to start to talk about these things as well. Because, like I say, as I'm experiencing and witnessing myself, the dominant players, like I say, whether it's because of the algorithms or the people that are running these social media platforms or just the people that watch my stuff, like I say, definitely seeing things getting worse and worse, progressively worse, which actually makes sense when you think about it. Progressively worse. That's because, yeah, in this modern Orwellian world we live in, up is down and in is out, and progressive is bad. Right? So, all right. I mean, even on Twitter and stuff, I'm so Twitter, I'm starting to get, it's so old. Even people that people that follow me, it's like, what the fuck? Why do you even follow me? If you're a bootlicker, or if you love cops and you just constantly like stand up and defend the cops, like just like I said to that I think it was a lady earlier, just don't follow me. It's the thing. I don't want, that's one thing I will say. And I've said this many times. I really so regret, in some ways, getting involved with the PBC, because my God, all I ended up surrounding myself with was predominantly a bunch of fucking statists. And that's the thing. I had that growth trajectory by, a bunch of statists coming to watch my channel. And now it's gone back. So it's totally, that was the worst thing I ever did in recent times. I got to say, worst thing I ever did. And I should have stuck and stayed true to my principle and not become active in terms of advocating for any political party. Or if I was ever going to do so, what I originally said years ago was, if I'm ever actively going to participate in the political process or promote or advocate for a political party as a libertarian, obviously the Libertarian Party of Canada would be that party, because just read the platform. It's all about promoting the ideas of liberty, of libertarianism. So very few disagreements with the, not just the policy and the platform, but the people who would gravitate towards the Libertarian Party. But People's Party, yeah, like I say, it wasn't populist, yeah. Although how popular was it? Not one seat, not so populist, right? But a lot of right-wingers who were sick and tired of the status quo in terms of the Conservative Party, their conservative option that they've all, if you're a conservative in this country, you have one option. You've always had one option, and that was the Conservative Party, which is not even a Conservative Party. So I get why the PBC come to exist, and it grew, and it seemed to be doing relatively well, at least online, until the actual time came to participate in the vote process, right? But once again, what a complete fail. And like I say, not just in terms of the party, but has caused me to basically have to go back and start from scratch all over again. So if I'm going to have to do this, if I'm going to have to reinvent the wheel all over again, do I want to do it on the same platforms and dealing with the same kind of people? Probably not, right? So like I say, I'm going to be looking towards getting, and if I have to go to other platforms, just like I was doing a couple of Facebook live streams, and actually that's the other thing, my Facebook live stream that I did, and it was just a real short, quick setup, like the ones I do even on YouTube. No notifications, because on Facebook, I mean, it's just if you're actively on Facebook at the time, right? But no notifications, no advertising. But yet I got 1,000 views on my video, which that I did, like I say, on Facebook. I can't get 1,000 views on YouTube for all the tea in China these days. So whether I do more streams on Facebook, or like I say, or if I just do them on some of these alternative platforms, and like I say, focus my attention on some of these alternative platforms, like I say, at least I'll have some semblance or opportunity to reach out to people who, I mean, like I say, at least seem to be willing to promote liberty in a much more boisterous or robust manner than most of the people who currently are following my YouTube channel or stuff. Because like I say, YouTube, it's been turning into a big old detriment to me as of late. I mean, even right here, right now, I've been live streaming now. Yes, give it a time, but I'm 6.5 or almost 7 minutes into it. Once again, it shows there's 9 people here. Nobody talking. Nobody doing anything. That's fucking Canada for you, right? This is just a representation of the greater fucking society at large here, I guess. So, but yeah. But like I say, I do my thing regardless. I do my thing. But I just figured I'd do this stream, so at least if somebody comes along after the fact and watches it, it'll be the most recent stream that they'll have access to, and they'll get the gist and the heads up as to why, hey, where the hell did Bennett go? Well, you'll find out why I'm not going to be around or doing this kind of stuff as much. But now, like I've said so many times before too, I'm not going anywhere, because I like to keep my options open and available to, because you never know when things are going to change in the future. And things will definitely change in the future. Like I say, I'm just waiting for Canadians to get caught up, finish with their infighting and bickering and playing this left-right bullshit before they finally come to realize that, yeah, that's just not the way to do it. It's just not the way to do it. But I was actually quite taken back. I forgot to actually reference this one. I did the one on Twitter, which was actually the better one anyways, because I had what was it? Well, there was at least hundreds. I forget how many hundreds of people who actually replied or responded to my poll on Twitter in regards to Maxime Bernier's fucking petition to ban Antifa. But I forgot all about it, actually, because there's so many things, like I say, I do in the run of a day. But I forgot I'd actually done one on YouTube as well. So I figured, hey, why not cover that one? It's about a week old now. But once again, just showed me again, even people that follow my channel just showed me once again the kind of people in Canada. And like I say, I really do feel more and more isolated and alone these days. Well, not alone. Like I say, there's still always going to be, I have very small amount of people that I know I can trust and rely on. And those people, if you're watching, I definitely have a tremendous amount of respect and appreciation for you folks, and thank you very much. But for the most of them, or the rest of the ones that follow my channel or my online content that I create, these are people that, like I say, and I wouldn't align with these people ever. So I don't know. Do I want to, align myself with people who just like think that banning all the things they don't like, it's not very libertarianish. Right? But anyways, I wanted to cover this one. So let's get on here. So like I say, this was a poll I did on my Canadian Libertarian YouTube channel. Like I say, it was before I actually had the discussion with Mitchell Foley. And I had just put, hi, everyone, just letting everyone know that I will be having a discussion with Mitchell Foley tomorrow. This was back June 12th at 2 p.m. Atlantic time regarding collective punishment. Maxime Bernier has initiated a petition to ban Antifa in Canada. As a result, I wanted to get an idea as to how many candidates, members, and supporters of the PBC actually agree with this initiative. So I created my own Twitter poll, and I will be relaying the results, which I've already done, as well as reading some of the many replies. I'm definitely against the violent individuals who cause harm to people or property in the name of their ideology. However, banning an ideology is a fool's errand, even for totalitarian governments or dictatorships, and not something a critical thinking person who cares about individual liberty should support. I will make my stance clear during our conversation. We will also be covering the issue of collective punishment in regards to the federal liberal gun ban, its implications for personal protection, and what it means for Canadian gun owners going forward. Please join us. I have created the very same poll here to further gauge support for the banning of Antifa in Canada. Please vote and offer up your own reasoning behind your choice in the comment section. I will be referencing them during the live stream and getting your feedback from the chat as well. So the question is real simple. Yes or no, right? Pretty simple one, right? But that's the thing. You could, if you wanted to add some nuance to it, that's why there's a comment section. Okay, I voted X, like yes or no, and then just offer your reasoning behind it, right? Anyways, and some did do it. Now it didn't get that many votes. Well, like I say, it's my YouTube channel. Basically overlooked and ignored a lot these days. But based on the ones that did reply, what was it, 87 votes? 80% said yes, they want to ban Antifa. They support banning Antifa. 20% said no. Now, the Twitter one was even worse. It was 90+% people in favor of banning Antifa, right? So it was even worse. And it got 26 thumbs up. I mean, even the people that voted, 26 of them voted up. Actually, there's 26 comments, 26 thumbs up. So out of the 87 people, and that seems about right, although that's quite a bit higher than I'm usually accustomed to, but didn't even bother to hit thumbs up or thumbs now. It just goes to show how minimal people in Canada, like the effort that's, well, hey, we live in a quasi-socialist country. People putting in minimum effort goes completely along with that kind of society or culture, right? But anyways, so like I say, there were 26 comments. I just want to read from some of the comments here. Slush McGee or Slosh McGee, ban them. They've shown they stand for nothing but chaos and violence. They are fundamentally anarchists. First of all, I'm a big fan of anarchists. Big, huge fan of people who don't advocate for the state. Right? So, big fan of them. But yeah, but they show they stand for nothing but chaos and violence. Are you talking about Antifa or government? Because I'm a little bit confused there, because actually government is all about chaos and violence, right? Let's ban government instead. But anyway, so that was Slosh McGee, and 6 people had liked his comment. And we got Tommy Gunn. Being a firearms owner would like to know how voting conservative will change anything. It won't. That's my answer. Being that it was the conservatives voted in Sustainable Development, Global Compact, and UN Arms Treaty only to take our property away. A white elephant no conservative will ever talk about. Libcons must go. I agree, Tommy Gunn. Let me see. Did I actually? Well, that was someone else that had replied to that. Anyways, like I said, Tommy Gunn is usually pretty reasonable for sure. Anyways, Metal Man had replied, all the more reason to vote PBC. Max. No. If you want to vote for a party that's actually going to challenge the status quo and not play middle ground and not just cater to a bunch of fucking right wingers, like, and it's going to remain principled where you're not going to be disappointed right after the fact. No, it's the Libertarian Party of Canada. If you care about liberty, anyways, right? If you're a conservative, then yeah, I mean, because conservatives are a lot of conservatives are statists too, right? So if you just want to maintain the state, but in a conservative branded manner, then yeah, you're not going to want to vote for the Libertarian Party of Canada. But if you're principled and you actually care about individual rights, freedoms, and liberty, then yeah, the Libertarian Party of Canada, that's the only game in town. They are not protesters at heart. They are in disguise. they're also getting increasingly violent. Who's they, Lone Bear? This was a Lone Bear that said this. Well, that's the thing when people talk in such collective manners. Who are they? So there's no one in Antifa that doesn't use violence? There's lots of them. I've seen it. I've watched the videos, many videos. When you have like this big group of people, there's always some of them who act out violently, right? And others don't. And actually others, I've even seen where others step in and say, you know, you shouldn't be doing this stuff or try to de-escalate. So once again, that's the beauty of dealing with people as individuals, is you don't have to collectivize anything. You just say that person did something, and who cares fucking who's or what they think, like what ideological team or tribe that they along with is. If that's the person, they did something wrong, well, punish the person for doing what they did wrong, not for what they think or what they believe, right? But now, like I say, in this modern Orwellian world, now we must punish people based on what they think, believe, or have preference for in terms of ideological leanings or standings. Dreamcatcher C, I haven't seen Dreamcatcher C in quite some time. But anyways, and Lone Bear, someone named Freedom had, I like the name, by the way, had replied, they are not protesters, they are interceptors working for the liberal losers. Anyone that researches, oh, this is the one from Dreamcatcher C. Actually, why don't I put this on the screen? Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's put this on the screen. Why not? We can. Might as well. Yeah. Might as well, right? So yeah, let's get back into here. Anyone that researched history or lived some of it know that this is how brown shirts started in the 30s. It's the same symbol. All right. All capital. Don't even know how to reply to that one, but anyways, yeah. Peter Messenger. I don't endorse banning Antifa as a group. That is too much akin to censorship for my liking. Make this a little bit bigger. But I do wish our law enforcement would actually enforce the laws we have on the books at the moment. Anyone who uses violence or destruction as a form of protest should be charged. Also, anyone who poses a danger to others while protesting should also be charged. Well, then the police should be policing themselves and charging each other, right? Is that what you're saying, Peter? Because that's what I would say. Listen, you got to be consistent. That's the thing with me, is I'm consistent, right? If you're against these people that are violent, or people who use violence or threats of violence as their ultimate means to end, to their political end, I'm with you there, totally with you there. But that's literally what government is. That is literally what government is. That's what these politicians do. That's their straight from their playbook. So let's be consistent. Let's ban government. If you agree, then let's ban government then, right? Ban people from who have these violent or evil intentions from gaining so much power. In other words, a monopoly of power, right? But yeah, use police. I'm scared of people who use violence, so let's get police. And how many Antifa people in Canada have you seen carrying a gun around? I've never seen any. Not in Canada. I've seen some in the US, but in Canada, I haven't seen any video footage or articles or even a screenshot or a picture. You know, a lone photo, anything. Show me, right? Got any evidence of where these Antifa are walking around armed, right? Then I would retract my statement. But like I say, until I see that, I have yet to see Antifa walk around and using threats of violence basically all day, every day. Now, periodically for sure, but when you're talking about the police, that's literally what they do. And they cause harm to a tremendous amount of people in this country because of their order following, right? So like I say, there's that. But I mean, just look, like I say, look at the people who are replying here, right? On a libertarian page, advocating for the state or for their enforcers. Like I say, go away, you people. Those are the kind of people, the subscribers, the views. I'm fine. I don't care if I lose more subscribers if it's losing people like this. If it's losing people like this, I'm totally on board with watching my numbers dwindle, because be honest with you, I don't want people like this coming to my channel. People that just think it's such, like I don't want to deal with dipshits and status. Or I will if they're dipshits and statists that actually want to learn some things. But if they think that they got some fucking vastly superior knowledge or ethical stance or have any grasp on the philosophy of liberty, like I say, none of them has shown their willingness or their acknowledgement in what it is to even be free. These are people saying, no, my team, right? Bunch of collectivists, bunch of statists. It's organized crime, and in Canada, it should already be banned. So it's just the government not doing their job like usual. Once again, the government is organized crime. For fuck's sakes. Like, what the hell is wrong with you people? And you call yourself Freedom. That's this person's name, is Freedom. Government is goddamn organized crime. But once again, until people get, like I say, until the statists are willing to break free from their indoctrinated mindset, Canada, we're not getting anywhere close to getting any freedom. So just, I guess, yeah, keep doubling down on your divide and have that fight, because it's going to be playing out for a long, long time yet in this country. It'll be work out as usual. What'll happen, I don't know when it's going to happen, but what'll work out as usual, our American counterparts, they'll go through all the bullshit, but they'll be the ones that'll figure that stuff out and then become more unitized and solidified in terms of their respect and admiration for individual liberty. And then I guess Canada, 5-10 years later, as per usual, might very well get caught up and start doing the same, although not necessarily, not based on the kind of people who are in power now, who are actively seeking power in this country. I think it's actually going to go, I think there's going to be a much bigger divide, actually, right? Seems like we're pivoting further and further away from trying to emulate American individual liberties or exceptionalism in terms of respecting that, right? And all the underlying premises that entails. And I think Canada, well, especially under Trudeau, and like I say, the rest of the establishment parties, I think they'd be completely on board with taking us more towards the communist dictatorship model, right? Pretty sure of that. Well, based on my observations anyways, and like I say, I pay attention. I'm quite astute, so. And Freedom, our Metal Man replied to Freedom, could be some are funded by our government, right? Well, that's true, right? Our government, by our government. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Yeah, a lot of work to be done here in Canada, folks. Like I say, even people that come to a libertarian page, just like, wow, the state still just rolling around up there in that mind and just dominating everything in their minds, right? Labeling them a terrorist group, I believe, is the appropriate action. Oh my God. Political Islam is also a terrorist group. They're both national security threats to Western ice, right? This was David Heipel. So once again, Kelly Day sounds interesting. Nothing to add. Don't just want to sit on that fence there, Kelly. Nothing at all. Sounds interesting. Banning ideas. You support banning ideas, like I say. All right then. Canada, love it or leave it. LOL. Now you own Canada or no? Ron CYR. I don't know what that even means. Love it or leave it. But so you own Canada or the Trudeau? You agree with the Trudeau Liberals, and either you love it. I just don't like. What kind of answer is that? Good thing you people aren't fucking actually tested on this, right? Fail. Actually, no, what am I doing? Not the check mark. Fail. I wouldn't ban anything, but I do expect the law to deal with them if they're attacking others. Why don't you deal with them, right? If you're around, or why don't other people deal with them? Or the people that are being attacked defend themselves, or the people like personal responsibility. It really is. It escapes most Canadians. It really does. It escapes them. It doesn't even enter into their mind as a thought. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. What about personal responsibility? Of course, that's how I've lived, which just goes to show you how most of these people live. They don't like if that's not your lived experience, right? Why me, Lord? Looks like more of us conservative thinkers than libs. Oh, I agree. Which is why, like I say, I'm trying to weed this stuff out, because I definitely don't want a bunch of conservatives on my goddamn shit. Like I say, if I have to pick one side of the LibCon duopoly, I would choose neither. But yeah, you conservative types, nah. I know exactly what you folks are like. And the fact that you have no power is the only reason why you're trying to pretend to try to cozy up to libertarians and stuff. I know if you fucks had power, you'd be fucking more than willing to, Yeah, I know I'd be even worse off than under the Trudeau regime. I guarantee that. So I'm under no illusion, unlike many Canadians. I think most of us want less government. Oh, Rectitude Media, he or she will probably, without even reading it, I bet it's a reasonable, well-articulated response. Because, like I say, there are some in Canada who do actually, hold themselves to a decent standard. I think most of us want less government, but the argument isn't libcons, it's freedom, safety issue. How do libertarians expect the defense of property and human rights to be carried out without becoming too authoritarian? Half of libertarians believe in having a state with limited power and forget that people in general are wildly irresponsible and stuck in 2D thinking. If we were properly educated and taught that there is more beyond the left-right paradigm, then yes, we should allow all political institutions to be discussed openly. The problem is Marxism has muscled in by use of force and indoctrination, with all other criticisms denied and suppressed by totalitarian entities that control the flow of information, dooming us all into what about isms of specified factions that seem like a fantasy to the sleeping, uninformed masses. Yeah, like I say, that was a good response. But yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, until people get themselves out of that mindset, that authoritarian mindset, yeah, we're not. And like, yes, Marxism is definitely a major issue for sure. But like I say, when right wingers had their dominant control or stranglehold on power, they were no better. Power has a corrupting nature, as Rectitude is saying, which is why you just don't give anyone that kind of power. Instead of banning them, this is Carol Cassis. Instead of banning them, they should be thoroughly investigated and any criminal acts punished. Makes sense to me. Track their funding. If they carry a Soros credit card like many in the US do, know that they get paid by the action. The card is topped up after they commit a crime. Who bails them out if they are arrested? These days, if we leave things to government, they won't get done. Well, I definitely agree with that last statement for sure. But yeah, yes, if someone has committed an actual criminal act, then yes, they should be investigated and punished based on the severity, right, of their crime. So I would agree with Carol there. Sabrina Nichols, I don't think they should be banned. Right on. Awesome. Carol and Sabrina, two people that are thinking at least a little more critically than the rest so far, right? I don't think they should be banned, as the fundamentals of free speech mean we cannot silence those we disagree with. Beautiful. That being said, though, if they get violent, they should be arrested and charged like anyone else who gets violent. Yeah. Funny how 6 months ago you weren't allowed to enter a banking institution with any sort of face covering, but because of the scandemic, nice, obscuring your identity is a-okay. Just saying. Well said. Here, let me give that let me give these a thumbs up here. Yeah, but wow, right? Actually, you know what? Even though I don't necessarily agree with them all, I will definitely give them all a thumbs up for at the very least, giving their opinions, right? Because that's what I want at the end of the day. It's the problem, though. It's like, it's not a matter of just disagreeing with opinions, though, when you're talking about this stuff. It's people are advocating for collective punishment, right? That's the thing. And there's no common ground when people are advocating for collective punishment towards people who haven't actually committed a crime themselves. I just can't get behind that, whether you're coming from the left or the right. Sorry. Yeah, no. In theory, no. In reality, yes. You can't reason with Marxism. They don't care about the NAP or free speech and have completely taken over our culture, not by winning arguments or through ideas, but through use of force of the state, media, education, global financial institution, etc., using the methods of censoring and tyranny. If society didn't push us all into a culture war now, then yes. Antifa should be allowed to exist in Canada. However, we have global institutions that are openly trying to destroy Western civilization in its entirety and have been helped by all left-leaning globalist cocks we call leaders. Yeah, well, that was good. That was pretty good. I like that one. Let's give that a definite thumbs up there. And the last one here was a Frenchman. A Frenchman. Not many of you are voluntarists, right? Right? You noticed that too, did you? No, bunch of, like I say, Anyways, not many of you are voluntarists. You want government to ban something. You are setting a precedent to ban more thing. I guess you're a pro-government after all, but just your type of government. Being a troll on that last bit. Hey, I completely with you. I didn't think that was trolling. We do play in life, and we're dished a certain amount of things we never asked for, including fiat money. If you play on the board, you got to accept the rules. Or you got to do something like Lysander Spooner, create an alternative, like he attempted to do with postal services. When you go for the foundation, the mechanics, you get a good picture of what is unfolding. Well, I would definitely agree. Is definitely, yeah, create your own, way to vacate the state, right? So we let Marxism destroy freedom, dissent in Western civilization, because God forbid we enforce protecting those rights or going after private entities that use fascist tactics to eliminate any competition is perfectly fine. No wonder why nobody takes you seriously. Libertarians can be more self-righteous than conservatives because they say liberties should be protected while being completely vague on the details of how you protect them. Lest you get accused of being too authoritarian. Left-leaning libertarians and voluntarists are what turns people away from the voting booth when it comes to voting for personal responsibility. Most don't even know what that even fucking means. Not bad. Not bad. Anyway, so that was that. That was pretty much the end of the engagement on that. 26 comments, like I say. So let's get back. I see a few people have joined. Hey, what's going on, Ron Sire? I read one of your comments there, I believe. Just listening, brother. Thank you. Sorry, got food. All roads lead to China. Well, not necessarily, but work on the bike. Oh, right on. Good times. Cool. Awesome. What kind of bike? Sweet. Looks like it. Well, based on the meme, crotch rocket. Nice. I like. Good evening from Windhoek. Where the heck is that? Line in the sand. Wow. That's pretty cool. Not sure where that is, but if it's evening, it's definitely not in the east coast of Canada. What's going on, the devil and the advocate? A wise man once said, the best counter to bad ideas is good conversation. Yeah, but that's the thing. Is anyone having conversation these days? I offer it all the time. And whether I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Gab, Minds, every time someone says that they disagree with me, right, I say, well, let's talk about it. Very, very few takers. So yeah, people don't want to have a conversation. They want to double down on their own, their preferences, and don't want anyone to challenge them. I know that's why people don't want to have the conversations with me, because they realize the minute I start into it and start poking and prodding at their preconceived notions, that, like I say, not only can I poke holes through them, but they'll basically disappear as the concept in your mind once I've shown how ridiculous they are. And that people are like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that to happen. Right? People are fearful of objective knowledge and truth. Right? That used to be something that dominated the religious right, but today it seems to dominate the religious or cultish left, right? Because that's the thing. And even the right, actually, but the people that use the old world ways of dogma have just pivoted toward the state. The state is their new authority, their new supreme leader, right? Their new God, their new deity. So, and people don't like to have, like I say, their ideology challenged, or for someone to tell them that your God is evil, vile, and corrupt to the core, right? No one wants to have that kind of truth espoused to them. Oh, by the way, for you folks, well, especially the gentleman that's fixing the bike there, good times. Yeah, me and my wife, last night, we just watched the first one, Fast and the Furious, the original one. Man, it's been a while. That was 19 years ago. I couldn't believe it. 19 years ago. 2001 is when that came out. But now that they're all on Netflix, I think all of them are on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're like, yeah, let's just go for it. We're going to start. And I think it's Too Fast, yeah, that's part 2. We're going to probably watch that one tonight. But yeah, so if you're a big fan of performance and racing stuff, and there's bikes on that too, right? There's the Yakuza? Or no, that's the Japanese. I don't know, it's Chinese mafia or something. Guys on bikers in part 1 there. I remember looking at them too. It's like, there's the old CBR. And back then it was the CBR 900. Back then, I believe it was, right? Or the 929. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, it's funny to look at some of the performance cars and bikes and stuff. but see the ones from 20 years ago, right? It's pretty wild. Anyways, yo, a wise man would say the best counter bet. Yeah, exactly. BLM as well as Antifa are just different attempts of the Marxists to destroy the Western way of business. Yeah. Yep. They should charge each other, yet the thin blue line. That's the thing, right? They're against violent thugs or gangs, right? Well, what the fuck do they think the cops are, especially the RCMP in Canada? So, yeah, you want to use, we're against these violent gangs of thugs, but we want these violent gangs of thugs to go against them. It's like, well, if you're constantly advocating for violence, we'll expect your opponents to be doing the same thing. Right? It's like, that's what you're going to get at the end of the day. And good luck to the winners. Although everyone basically ends up at losers under those situations. But okay. Hey, Don Knighthood. Hello, Don. How you doing? Nice to see you in the stream. Oh, by the way, folks, if you would mind, hit that like button. Reverend, what's going on, Reverend? Mr. Bennett, sir. What you see going on has been fermented by affirmative action, slavery, museums, kneelers, etc., otherwise called empowerment. My view is statue destroyer rider gets shot. In my view, a statue destroyer rider gets shot or it's chaos. Yeah, what, to set an example thing? Like, to me, that's the thing. If someone's doing something, then deal with and I agree with you wholeheartedly with, yes, a lot of these things, but once again, can't we just deal with people as individuals, right? That's because really that's to me at the end of the day. If someone is doing something, and especially like destroying of these statues, first of all, who do you think it's the media that loves advocating? Go after the media hacks. Go after those in government who are constantly promoting this stuff, right? Because that's the thing is people are looking to go after the sheeple or the useful idiots. Like, what fucking good is that? Like, why not go after the ones who are manipulating and causing the divisiveness in the first place and the ones who have the power to do so, right? Like I say, people just would rather hate on their own fellow man, woman, and child rather than showing unity with each other and going against, like I say, the real culprits, which are those in government or in the media. I just wanted not be so paranoid. My spidey sense are on overload. The Unknown Woman channel. I hear you, but like I say, that's like I say, as much as groups like Antifa can be a threat, in some way, in some regard, they're puny. Their threat is puny in comparison to those who function in the state, those who support central banking, big government, right? All this government largesse and spending and the ability to legislate, to micromanage, dictate, and control every aspect of our social and economic life. These are people you should be more overly concerned with. But no, like I say, people fall in line with this political divisiveness, this left-right thing in Canada so easily. Like I say, they've been indoctrinated and inundated with this shit for so long since they were little kids. That's all they can think about. And I try all the time to try to help them break free from it, but they just keep falling right back in. Just barely put out my arm, it's trying to pull them out. And it's like, boom, fuck, they fell right back into the stench again. It's like, I just can't. Like I say, eventually I'm like, listen, I tried to help. You don't want to help. You obviously don't want any help, right? So I don't know. It's a two-way road. Do reach out. This is my real profile. Like to talk. I know you must be busy, but this format not safe to express oneself. Why is it not safe? I don't understand why it wouldn't be safe. I do it. If it's not safe, how the hell have I managed to do it for all these years? I don't get it. I do it. I'm still here. Still. Matter of fact, I do way more than most people to poke at people with real power, right? And yet, anyways, I don't know. Not sure I like the idea of government anymore. Well, you probably shouldn't, Steve. Yeah. Oh, hey, Wendy. What's going on, Wendy? Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Germany in 1929, or many places past, and like I say, or Canada in 2020. Oh, love or leave. Oh, okay. Sorry. Got you. Right on. Dan Baroob, Trudeau lost his bid for UN seat. Hopefully he will stop giving parts of our country away, what's left of it. Yeah. Yep. China owns most of Canada, especially here in BC. Trudeau did his part to sell them, but all the past PMs did as well. Each one are traitors of this country. Well, that's the thing. It's you give, that's the thing. Where the people from the left say, oh, the liberals did all this stuff, or people from the right say, from the left say, oh, the conservatives, oh, they did all this, or the other way around. It's like, that's the whole reason why you don't give any politician this much power. That's literally the point. If you just take away that, but I mean, yeah, good luck with that now. That's the thing. I don't even know how you would even try to get from underneath the current system we're in now without completely breaking it down, right? Because how do you start to unwind it when the culture is not ready for it? Like, you can use the halls of power for good, even just like you can use a weapon, right, of war for good, right? But when you're in a culture where most people have an affinity for the state and want to maintain that structure because they benefit economically or socially from it, well, I just don't know how you possibly get to that point. A minority of people usually can, but because the deep state is so well entrenched, just like what you're seeing down in the US, even if you vote in enough people, even if you could get the PPC in there, I think even if you could somehow get that to happen in this country, I don't know how you start to unwind the state in such a manner. Like I say, it's everything has been set up to maintain this very corrupt system, right? And they've had decades to entrench it, to solidify it. So, like I've said so many times before, which is why I continue to do what I do. It's all up here. We got to get Canadians up here. But if I'm only going to be constantly just dealing with 20 or 30 people, like, we're never going to get anywhere. We're never going to get anywhere, which is why, like I was saying at the very beginning of this stream, is I'm probably going to have to pivot towards, because on some of these alternative platforms are people just like me who have been disenfranchised with the kind of reaction or the people we're dealing with on the established platform. So it's like, well, yeah, I think I've all but exhausted people who are willing to listen to what I've got to say or watch my videos on YouTube, or to watch or pay attention to my content on Facebook or Twitter. So maybe, like I say, it's Minds or Gab or ThinkSpot or Locals, some of these other platforms, and BitChute, now that I'm back to uploading on BitChute, because the kind of people that are on these platforms are the kind of people who are, like I say, like me, and are actually yearning for this kind of information. So now maybe I should, stop procrastinating and hedging my bets and hoping that someday people will come around in these big established players and platforms and start doing the right thing, so that, like I say, voices like myself can be expanded much more readily and heard by a lot more people. But it's not seeming to be the case. So, oh, okay. Oh, okay. CYR is a French name. Sounds like, oh, Sear. Yeah, I kind of figured as much. Sear. It's okay. I am used to it. Okay. Right on. Okay. And that's the other thing too. I still have not heard from Mr. G Rich. That was a weird thing. That was such a weird thing. I wonder how many other people. I always wonder that. Who's on here that's pretending to be my friend or just paying attention to me just so they can. That's another thing too. I recognize quite a few other people listen to my shit so they can get the proper information. And then they don't even say, oh, I heard this from the king. They don't even want to give credit, because I can tell, like, you can tell when people are talking, when they're using the same kind of vocabulary and talking in the same way. You can usually tell that, oh yeah, I know where they heard that bit of information from. And because I'm kind of unique in how I talk and deal with this thing, I can definitely tell when people are referencing stuff they heard while watching my video. But will they actually acknowledge it and say, oh yeah, oh, by the way, I heard this from, on Libertarian. Oh, go check it. No, none of that. None of that. Everyone wants to gain access and get this kind of knowledge that I bring to the table, but then forget where they got that information from in the first place and try to I don't know, hog into the limelight or whatever and pretend that forget about me, right? It's like, well, okay, I mean, you could do that, but could you at least show a little thanks? Even if you just do it privately, say, gee, thanks, Bennett. But anyways. The government's nature by its current configuration is to gain more power at the cost of liberty. It's just that simple. Yeah. Yes. I agree. Hey, what's going on, Jerome? Hey, Jerome, actually, yeah, I got to get to covering. Actually, that's been quite a while. Probably a little late now. Hello, good to see you. Well, thank you very much, Jerome. Yeah, I sorry about that, buddy, because I got really busy there for a while, not just in doing this stuff, but even in my personal life. And anyways, maybe I will still get to doing that, Jerome. But I apologize for not getting to covering your protest there, man. I agree that people are afraid of conversation. I've been trying to have conversation with people I disagree with as well. They drop their responsibility and resort to lizard brain, fight or flight. Yeah, I keep trying, but no one wants to have a conversation. It's like, I don't know, and I mean, even myself, I'm getting tired of even hearing myself these days. I'd like to be able to actually engage in genuine dialogue with people, but if they're unwilling to do it, like I say, I'll go where the people are. Because yeah, on ThinkSpot, on Gab and Minds, there are people. Well, especially on ThinkSpot, that one post that I put up there alone has had hundreds of replies, and people are really, really interested in talking about these things. But here I am. That's the thing. Here I am, trying to. That's because I have that tendency to be loyal, right? And because most of the people have been following my YouTube channel, I have a sense of loyalty to you folks. So I've been putting off the people who are, like I say, probably even better people to deal with, right? And get some maybe better, maybe not just better conversations, but even better ideas. Like, I just don't, like I said, I just don't know, which is why I named this stream where to go from here. I just don't know what to do anymore. I'm literally basically almost at a loss for words, which is usually not something that happens to me, but it's become more and more difficult these days because I just don't know what are people expecting. I don't know. Like I say, I liken it to a divorced mother and father, but they refuse to leave the same household, right? They want to fight. They fight each other tooth and nail. They basically despise each other. They can't get along basically they can't agree on anything. And yet they still seem to want to, I don't know, like live in the same household and just ignore each other forever and eternity. It's like, well, why don't you separate so there's not so much tension, right? That you could basically cut with a knife, right? Why don't you just separate, go your own separate ways? And I think you would be both much happier as a result, because you'll have more autonomy and freedom to do whatever you want, and so will you. Or if you're adamant or dedicated to remain committed in some way to each other, right, and staying in the same general vicinity or locale or house, right, in this particular example that I'm using, then don't you think you should have a conversation, maybe work out and iron out some rules so that, like I say, you can get back to having a little bit more peace and prosperity and not have to always constantly be looking over your shoulder or worrying about what the other person is doing, right? Like, wouldn't that, I don't know. To me, like I say, the way things are currently being done, and these are adults we're talking about. It's adults who are basically acting like children and not willing to engage or just think about doing the right thing. It's weird. We got millions and millions of Canadians that are basically functioning psychologically, mentally as immature or undeveloped adolescents. LOL, me and my son are watching the series. Yes, nice. Awesome, Wendy. Yeah, it's good. I like it. I love it. Those shows are great, right? And you know what I love about those things? Well, of course, it takes me back to my golden days of because I was a big advocate of racing and stuff like that too, and always been into performance machines. But it's also, that camaraderie, the friendship, the family. Like I say, even some of these movies that are, it's mostly about racing, but you get some great stories and some cultural cues, right? that are contained within these. And I love them, right? I love some of the great stories that are promoted. And even even in these high octane, high adrenaline racing type movies, especially the first couple ones, that first one and everyone's out, having a barbecue. Like, I just love it, right? Yeah. Anyways, getting all sentimental here about racing series movies, but I love it too, Wendy. I am confused by double standard of Quebec versus the rest of Canada on laws and other issues. I'm confused too. And actually, what was that? JJ McCullough. He's got a pretty big channel in Canada. I don't know if you folks have ever watched. He watches or makes quite a bit of video. JJ McCullough is his YouTube channel name. Like I say, he's got, I think, over 100,000 or maybe 100. I'm not sure, but he's got a lot of subscribers. But he was basically talking about Quebec being a distinct culture, basically how there's 6 different classes of people, of collectives or groups in this country. And actually, I completely agree. And actually, he was even referencing the fact that Pierre Elliott Trudeau was more about individual rights instead of collective rights. And basically, JJ was alluded to, and I definitely agree, is collective rights are basically government rights, right? Because we're all individuals, folks. We're not collectives, right? So collective rights, it's basically institutionalized gangs or groups, which once again is government or political parties or, Quebec people, that French-speaking Quebec people, because they have special collective group rights, or First Nation peoples who have special collective group rights. But once again, it's the individual. All these collective rights, ultimately, at the end of the day, end up, being a way to trump or override or overrule individual rights selectively, I might add, right? Based on your political or ideological preferences, and maintain some structures of collective rights. So it's a gang overriding and overruling the individual. That is what is at the core of Canada's culture, and why it is so divided, and why the political rhetoric is so divisive, because Canada truly is not. There's nothing unified in this country at all, other than the fact that most Canadians can't stand each other. That's the only thing I see unified. But that's what happens when you divvy people up into collective groups, is they're going to find a way. It's tribalism, right? If you stop placing people into the category of tribes or collectives or groups, and you acknowledge them as individual, then once again, that's individualism is we're all individual. Think about it. We're all individuals. Just that statement alone is a unifying statement. Whereas collectives, well, hey, I'm not part of this collective. I am part of this collective goal. Well, that's already set it up then, where it's now like I say, it's a team sport, which is going to be where you're competing against each other rather than trying to cohabitate or cooperate with each other, right? And not cooperate or competing in terms of ideas or in the marketplace of not just ideas, but even in the market in terms of business, right? Of commerce. But no, we're talking about people who are competing for power, for that monopoly of force of violence, which is government. And when people are competing for power to use against other collective groups, well, that's always a detriment to liberty and for everybody, each and every individual contained within those collectives or those groups. It's basically just might makes right, right? That's all it is. Government, people pretend that, government's there to eliminate the potential for might makes right. But in reality, government basically entrenches might makes right as part of the structure and how the country is actually governed. So, yeah, right on. And then you have New Brunswick, where they passed law for bilingual to work suits. Yeah. So it's not just Alberta. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Oh, maybe did you watch that video too, Thaco? JJ's? Because he talked about that too. Like, that's another thing. Because New Brunswick is a bilingual province. Yeah, if you're one of those people that speak both languages, now, not that I would ever want to work for the state, but even in the tourism, let's say you worked in the tourism industry, or anyone that does deal with the public, right? It's like two different classes. Once again, you're going to have a leg up, and basically the only people who are going to have opportunity to be gainfully employed. Now, once again, not that I would advocate or am looking personally to get into be employed by the state. No, that's the last thing I would ever. No thanks, right? But it literally does set it up that if you're not bilingual, and as someone that's from New Brunswick, the central part of New Brunswick, nobody speaks French around here. The central part of New Brunswick is all English, all of it. Nobody speaks French. So why in the hell do we need to have redundant services offered in both languages when it's just what I don't know, because government just likes to squander and piss away money just for the hell of it, right? So, once again, whereas if each region, had the ability to like, hey, if it seems like a good idea because you have a lot of French people in your community, well, of course you would want to do that, right? But once again, that one size blanket approach, well, that's what government is at the end of the day. Absolutely. If they were not paid to rip statues down, they would not do it for there's no reason other than money. Yeah, like even these ripping of statues down, that seems like a stupid fucking thing. Like history happened. Actually, good thing about knowing your history is you might learn some lessons. But like I say, a lot of these leftists or these authoritarians, they want to wipe out or erase history so that they can fucking enslave or indoctrinate even more successive generations. And then the next generations won't even have any history to look back and say, oh, right. And matter of fact, if they can get to the point where they can completely control and dominate what you see and hear on the internet, then like I say, it's basically akin to book burning, so that the only information you'll ever see or hear is what they tell you, right? And that's basically what authoritarians want. Seems like they're backdooring us into a Chinese democracy. The Chinese use the triads as the thugs against freedom. The libs left use Antifa. Yeah. I lost my Facebook sharing. I lost my Facebook sharing your vids? What? Not sure what that means, Ron. How would you lose your Facebook sharing my vids? You lost. Can you actually expand on that? Because I'm not sure what that could possibly mean. Hit back on now. That one I mean about save. What can you tell me what happened? Or if you can't do it publicly, then maybe send me a message or something. Anything you would tell me, like if you asked me to keep it between us, I would definitely do that. The left, right, both push the same overall laws. They don't retract their opposition past rules. Same in the U.S. when Obama made the Patriot Act worse, as well as increased drone strikes. Yeah, I agree, devil's advocate. Oh, look, thank you very much. Good times. Super sticker. Appreciate that. Really do. $3. Thank you, sir. What's going on, Gato? Oh, what were me and the wife watching? Oh, that's what it was. Gato. Although I don't, well, yeah, I can use the second word because it's not derogatory, and it was just anyway. Yeah. So I was just mentioned that we were watching Fast and the Furious, the first one, the Fast and the Furious, last night, me and the wife. And what was it? I think it was a Mexican bar or something that they went to somewhere, because it's shot in California, like Los Angeles area, I believe, that first Fast and Furious. Yeah, it is. Anyways, but this bar that they went to, I remember the camera was panning on the sign. It said, what was it? El Gato Negro. Yeah, I think it was El Gato Negro. I don't know, it was like a bar or something, or some tavern or something, whatever it was. It was like Gato, right? Made me think of you there. But yeah, that was pretty funny. Anyways, what's going on? Okay, where are we at here? It's okay about the Toronto protest coverage. Just do as you feel comfortable. I learned most of my information from G. Edward Griffin. Hope more people read his stuff. G. Edward Griffin. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know G. Edward Griffin. He had some decent stuff. Haven't really watched too much his stuff, but maybe I'll check it out to kind of refresh myself. I live with my dog. He agrees with everything I say. Unknown Woman channel. That's awesome. Yeah. We had our best opportunity for change with the Occupy movement. quickly get dissolved into identity group bullcrap for whatever. Every time there's a movement to challenge the status quo, right? Whether it's coming from the left or the right. And this is what happens, because the people who want to maintain the status quo and the current way it's done, the establishment, they're going to fight you to the nail. And that's just what it is. And like I say, the only chance that we have to have anything possible, any chance at all, is for people to put aside their petty differences and rally around something that truly can unify us. And the only thing, folks, that can unify us are those promotion and adherence to individual rights, freedom, and liberty. That's the only recipe you got, because any other collective rights or groupthink or playing party politics, once again, it just sets it up where it's just, once again, it's just a fight for power. So it's not, like I say, there's no way any of these movements are ever going to happen until, like I say, until we start to see people actually having genuinely engaging discussions. And okay, like I say, so until you see someone like myself, or someone who represents like a libertarian like myself, a right winger and a left winger, let's say a center right winger or a center left winger, and a far right and a far left winger, like Antifa or I don't know, whatever you want to call the far right groups, right? But until, like I say, you get all these kind of people, and people like a representative from the Black Lives Matter protest and some First Nation people, right? Until we can all sit down and have like a conversation and hammer about these things, once again, we're just all going to be talking past each other, which is why I keep saying time and time again, I need to see people who are willing to actively step up and engage in a conversation. I even was willing to put on a series, but no one even responds to it. So I haven't even been advertising as of late, but I started a series called where I cover a topic and agree or disagree, let's talk about it. So cover a particular topic, subject matter, and then I just kind of, vocalize what my stance is on, and then just call it agree or disagree. Let's talk about it. Well, like I say, very few people want to talk about it. So what can I do? I'm the one that has to do all the talking because nobody wants to talk. So I don't know. And I get that you folks are probably getting sick of hearing me talk. You'd probably like to see me engage in dialogue and conversation with other people. And the only way I can do that these days is with other people that basically just agree with me. And I just don't want to do that anymore. I don't need to just sit and have my own opinions, preferences, and stuff regurgitated or repeated back to me. I've got that all down, right? I don't need to just have other people who I want to actually be engaged with people who have a fundamental disagreement, or at least they believe or perceive that we have a fundamental disagreement. Because I believe most people, if I'm given the opportunity to challenge some of the premises or preconceived notions, I can break through that shit. But I think most people, most Canadians don't want to give me the opportunity to break through the preconceived notions. Because if they did, well, we'd be having the conversations. But we're not. Actually, I better check this one out. Devils and the Advocate. Imagine if the taxpayers, could veto the government when they want to spend money on foolishness. If they decide to spend $400 million on something and we veto it, the money should be divided up and mailed. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I'm not too bad of an idea, but the government should be like every human being. Like, these are people who, like I say, they get, first of all, no human being gets to spend outside their means beyond what you can bring in yourself. Like, otherwise you're stealing from other people, and that's considered a crime, right? But yeah, people in the state can use, other people, right? If you can use other people's money or wealth and income to promote your ideas and use that against them, like that, to me, that's highly immoral, unethical, and should never be the case. But yes, we have no ability to withdraw our support economically from the state. That's the problem, especially under a current monetary system where the government just prints. And people have done that subsequent to the financial crisis. A lot of people, especially in the US, but even some Canadians, withdrew their support, right? Took their money out of the banks and even stopped paying taxes as a way to try to shrink government. But once again, government now, because they have the power of the printing press, basically on standby all the time, and nobody's challenged them. Nobody's saying, hey, this is unethical, this should be illegal, unconstitutional. They're just like I say, every Canadian that's withdrawn their support economically, well, the government just steps up and fills that void with more stimulus money, right? With more money printed fresh off the press. So like I say, they've got the system so well entrenched and set up these days. Like I say, I don't think we get out from under this without, like I say, getting people up to speed here, which is why I don't know why Canadians continue to wait. What are you waiting for? You need to get people up to speed, right? And if you're not, then, like I say, if I can't prove to be successful on YouTube, then, like I say, I'll go somewhere else to try to get success, because success ultimately at the end of the day is what matters most. Not just me sitting here listening to myself talk, or giving you people the option to listen to myself talk on a regular basis. I'm not here just to do that, to be honest with you. I really don't talk just for the sake of talking, because I can do that in the privacy of my own home, right? I'll take a $300 check instead of them spending my money on foreign bull crap. Yeah. But I know what you're talking about when you say you don't know what to do to get the message out there. I realize the best thing to do is to be unapologetic. You'll lose subs and win more. Well, I am trying that. I really am trying it, but it's not working much on YouTube as of late. As of late, somewhere in our life, we ask to see the truth, the awakening, always learning. Oh, blunt news. Oh, Canada did lose its AAA rating, did it? Well, we knew that was definitely on the on the horizon, the potential for it anyways, because, I mean, God, look at the money that Trudeau's been spending. Let me check this out, though. Because, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, I see Zero Hedge. Oh, so is Bloomberg. So, yeah. Zero Hedge is reporting on it. I see in April 23rd, Canada's a credit rating on the line. Okay, that was Business Financial Post back on April 23rd. And then, of course, back on March 21st, is Canada about to lose its AAA. So, yeah, it was already definitely on the horizon, but I see that, yeah, now it's actually taking place. Well, that's good. Awesome. So Canada, so that means the interest rate is going to be that much higher on the debt. And think about the debt. Wow. Wow, right? I'm definitely going to open this one up. Actually, since you brought that up here, let's check it out together, shall we? Shall we? Hey, thanks for letting me know about that, Blunt News. I really appreciate that. He got that triangle on the nose on the dog. Uh-oh, you're going to trigger some people. What was that? And Canadian Tire. Ooh, Canadian Tire is a secret Nazi group or some shit, right? Oh, my goodness. That's hilarious. I just noticed that. That's funny, Blunt News. Thanks for bringing that up or pointing that out anyway. So let me check this out. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, if we can't laugh once in a while, right? Person go insane if you don't at least try to find something to laugh once in a while. Which is why, like, I know it's the stuff I deal with. I know it's harsh and serious stuff, but like I say, got to keep your sanity. Got to keep the sanity up. Keep that head up there, buddy. All right, here we go. So, Business News Network, Bloomberg, the Canadian version. Canada loses AAA rating. Fitch downgrades amid virus costs. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I think I'll do a standalone video for this one, though, because this is something, like I say, I've been kind of expecting more coming. So, okay, they're just this is just, the initial press release. So there's going to be further to be continuing on this story. But yeah, and it was glad to be getting this early on. So Canada has been stripped of its AAA credit rating by Fitch Ratings, which took the country down to an AA plus rating with a stable outlook Wednesday. Fitch said it expects the government's COVID-19 response measures to raise Canada's debt to 115.1% of GDP in 2020, up from 88.3% in 2019. Wow. Wow, right? Of course, now they're measured. So that's the thing. There's so many different ways to measure Canada's debt, right? Because this number is actually not representative of all like unfunded liabilities and all these other promises that made to the, in particular, the public sector, right? Stuff, right? But, and a lot of the entitlements in this country. But even that, if you think about it, that's quite a huge jump. 115.1% of GDP. And who's going to pay for all that, you might ask, right? All these Canadians who can't even go by a month or two, like what was it, 7.8 to 8 million. By the way, I got a video coming out, or is it the 1 hour upload? Check out my videos, folks, on my channel. Check out my videos, because the big videos, the last few and the next couple that I've got, contain a lot of great information, and it's done where I can actually sit and like I say, do it, edit it out. So, I tend to make a mistake from time to time when I'm on the fly doing these things, live. But when I do my standalone videos, I make sure that I get the information out. And if I don't do it right, or if I say the wrong thing, or if I make a mistake, or I correct it and I edit out the mistake. So check out those videos, because there's a lot of information contained in there that Canadians really need to hear for sure. But wow. However, the credit rating agency said it sees Canada's debt to GDP stabilizing over the medium term. They don't know this shit, right? They have no idea. This is pure speculation. Flipping a coin and you could probably be just as correct, right? I mean, these are all, think about all these rating agencies, all these people before the financial crisis of 2008, all these people were saying the same bullshit. Like even the US, we're having a little bit of a blip and things aren't so good. Things are starting to maybe look a little negative, and then boom, right? The fucking whole crash happened, right? So like, these are people, they can't forecast or foresee what the fucking future entails. Nobody can. They're just speculating at the end of the day, once again. And a lot of them speculate based on their own vested interests, or hopeful or wishful thinking. So always keep that in mind. Last March, a year before the COVID-19 pandemic took hold, Fitch released a report warning high debt levels at the federal and provincial level were nearing a level that would be incompatible with Canada preserving its AAA rating. So, which obviously is no longer the case. Or, I mean, they're not. Now they acknowledge, well, I guess that is the case now, that you're not going to be able to maintain this credit rating, because like a credit rating downgrade literally tells you, that sends a message, especially if you're a market participant, that Canada is in a whole lot of trouble. Now they're going to downplay it for now, but when they're downplaying it, that's actually the time to be even more concerned. Since the pandemic, Canada's AAA rating has come under the microscope and amid more fiscal spending. However, former parliamentary budget officer Kevin Page told BNN Bloomberg in an April interview it was unlikely Canada would lose its stellar rating. Well, looks like Kevin was wrong, right? Even Kevin. And I mean, Kevin's been one of those few people that actually was at least trying to point out the ridiculousness of these massive debt levels, right? And deficits. But even this person, which should be in the know, said that, oh, no, we won't have to worry about that. But yet it happened anyways. So say, keep trusting them experts, because they're proven to be wrong time and time again. Which is why, like I say, I don't know why people have placed so much faith in people who have been proven to be wrong this many times. I just, with that kind of track record, at some point in time, you got to start to realize that maybe they're not such experts after all. But anyways, thanks again, Blunt News, for letting me know about that. The worst thing you can do is try to please everyone. You need to start not giving a fuck. Well, that is true, Gato. That is true. But that's the thing, though. I kind of do give a fuck, and it's hard for me to pretend that I don't. I'd have to pretend that I don't. So, but I get it. No, and you know what? I agree. Actually, very early on, when I wasn't monetized, had very few views, right? Very few subscribers. I really didn't give a fuck. I just said what the hell was on my mind. Didn't give a shit. And actually, that's probably why my channel grew so much. So I believe you're absolutely correct there, Gato, is I should stop worrying about people. But I thought that's the thing. It's so counterintuitive. You would think that if I show that I'm concerned with people and want to, have a good working relationship with it, you'd think that would be that's good, Bennett. Thanks. Really appreciate that. But nope, it's not the case. But yeah. In Poland, instead of ripping down the statue of the past, they put them in the museums. Yeah, right? Sounds like a good idea to me. I didn't watch video, just info from peeps on my travels, but New Brunswick, Moncton is where I'm from. Oh, cool. Moncton. Nice. Just info from peeps on my travels. Okay. Actually, I think I might remember you have mentioned that before. Palms being greased. Well said. Sooner or later, we'll discover that we have unique differences even among individuals. And when government denies the individual, there will be those that will fall through the cracks. Yes, agree, 100%, Jerome. Yes, can we just, like I say, can we just at the very least, just can we just please acknowledge each other as individuals? It would just tamp down so much of the divisive rhetoric and our ability to be more cooperative with each other and be able to get things done. That's like I say, this collectivism is proven to be a detriment to every individual, right? Even those who are part of the collective, because once again, the next collective is going to want to dominate your collective or your gang or your group. I'm telling you, sharing. Also in Quebec, we have everything bilingual in case we get a tourist or something. It's just a common courtesy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. To me, obviously, if it should be voluntary, because, if I run a business in Quebec, even if I was an English speaking, because I know the province is, populated majority by Quebec French speaking people, of course I'd want to have French, right, as the dominant language spoken. Even if I was an English speaking person that owned the business in Quebec, it's like, well, hello, the large majority of my customer base is going to be French, so I'm going to want to make sure that I'm catering to the customer base. But then, of course, if there was a substantial portion of English speaking people, then because Canada, has, like I say, both as part of the culture, the historical culture of this country, then I'd want to have English speaking. Or that's another thing. Let's say I was in Little Italy in Toronto and I opened up a store in Little Italy. I would want to make sure that there's probably quite a few people that speak Italian around there. Most of them probably speak English, because if they're Italian and living in Canada, chances are they probably speak English as well. But hey, maybe if I knew that the demographics or the composition of that area I lived in, a lot of people spoke Italian, might want to hire someone that speaks Italian, right? It should really, at the end of the day, it should be obviously up to the business owner and making sure that they're catering to their customer base, right? So that's, instead of a one size fits all approach, which is basically what government does, is allow individual businesses to figure out what's the best practice that's best for their bottom line. And like I say, if the people don't like it, then they just won't freak with that business and they'll go to some other business that's more suitable to what they would prefer. I mean, it's just, once again, it's just a matter of freeing up the market and allowing people to have options and choices. That's really what it comes down to me at the end of the day. Why even use Facebook if they're telling you're sharing away? Well, because I recognize that there are a lot of people on Facebook who I'd like to reach out to and engage in conversation or dialogue, but like I say, they're not doing it. So I don't know. Like I say, I'm keeping all the time holding out hope, but thanks for asking that question, Blunt News, because I don't even know. I can't answer that, to be honest with you. Maybe I shouldn't be. Twitter would be the first one. I think if I'm going to reduce my activity on the social media platforms, it'll probably be Twitter, because Twitter, other than being able to scroll through the news feed quicker to get up to date on some of the news, that's about the only thing I think Twitter's any good. In terms of engaging with other people, Twitter's it's a goddamn dumpster fire, right? So, but yeah, good point there, Blunt News. I know I don't know. It's hard to figure out what to do these days. That's, once again, where do I go from here? I'm still trying to figure this out. The devil plus cause Poland is still Polish, not a potpourri of misfits. The devil plus cause. Okay. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, probably replying to the devil. My fee for saying too much on the chat again. No. Forget that. You say whatever you want, the devil and advocate. That's what we're here for. And you're a channel membership. You say whatever you want on there. No problem at all. You do your thing, and you don't have to donate for saying anything. You just say whatever you want on the channel. That's actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, that's a great thing that you brought that up, Devil's Advocate, because I'm going to cover that now too. It was an hour and 19 minutes here, but I'm very disappointed in, and I think it might even be my, well, I thought we were friends anyways. We had great conversation. We were both cordial to each other. I had no suspicions at all. And I still to this day have no reason to believe that we're not in good in standings with each other, as far as I know. Like, but Canadians for Liberty, there's a Facebook page called Canadians for Liberty, and I've been following it for a long time. And now the administration had changed over the years, right? Just like there was another page, actually there is another page called Canadian Libertarians with an S on the end, unlike mine, which is just Canadian Libertarian. There's Canadian Libertarians once again. I'm not as active on that one as I much used to be either, and that has been changed over a couple of different administrators. But Canadians for Liberty, for some reason, I went to share. I did a Facebook Live, and Matt Saldo just happened to be on Facebook at the time, and he shared that on Canadians for Liberty. So I assume he must be an administrator. I don't know if they have multiple administrators or just one. But someone else that's part of that Canadians for Liberty Facebook group replied to my message that I'd sent. It's like, how come I can't share a post on Canadians for Liberty? I was so surprised because, like, as a libertarian, one of the most well-known vocal advocates of liberty in this entire country, like literally, I don't know who the hell is, who's any more all about promoting liberty in Canada than me, right? It's Canadian Libertarian. I love liberty, right? It's like, it's basically everything that I stand for is all about and focused on liberty on all my social media platforms. But yeah, on that Canadian or on that Canadians for Liberty Facebook page or group, I'm prevented from posting on there, which is weird because I get people like on my Canadian Libertarian page. It's actually a public figure. If you've ever looked on my Canadian Libertarian Facebook page, it's actually a page specifically about me because I identify my online persona as Canadian Libertarian. I didn't go with the Canadian Libertarian because I didn't want to be so like, oh yeah, I'm the, like, you know, like, ooh, I'm just so I just, but I am Canadian and I'm a libertarian. So Canadian Libertarian was what the name I went with, right? But even though it is listed as a public figure, like not a political organization, or it's set up, my page, Canadian Libertarian, is basically a public figure. So the page, my page, but it's completely open, 100% open. Everybody can comment. Everybody can post. Like, you can post your own stuff on there. You can share my stuff from there. Like, my page is completely open for anybody, whether you come from the left or right. Now, I have deleted a couple things in the past on it, but only when people like are, you know, advocating for violence, things that, like I say, I realize that, oh no, somebody's going to get in trouble or potential trouble, right? On the platforms by advocating for things. So there are the odd time, but most of the time, even people that come on there and like insult and deride me, and I've had quite a few of them, and just rip me a new one because they hate me for some reason, because I don't align with their particular brand of politics or something that they seen that I posted and they want to bitch about because I don't know whatever. Anyways, but even when they go down and call me names, or as like when you folks see, like when I'm doing the streams, I've told Rika or any of the other moderators on my YouTube channel, it's like, no, let them, if they're just insulting me, go ahead. Now, like I say, if they're advocating for violence, I don't want to bring any of that stuff to the platform because I realize that can get people into trouble and stuff. So, but other than, like I say, advocating for violence, if you want to insult me or post stuff that I don't agree with, by all means, go ahead and do so on my page. Canadians for Liberty, I'm not allowed to post on their page. That I find that's why would you, like, are you fearful that I might post something? What? Have you not looked through my history of the kind of stuff that, like, I just don't understand? Or I would just say Canadian conservatives. I would just say rebrand the page, because Canadians for Liberty suggests to me that you're all about promoting individual liberty, because that's what liberty entails, right? Liberty is not about collective rights. When you hear the term liberty, right, you're talking about basically, you know, Enlightenment era values and basically how the U.S. founding fathers set up the U.S. It's all about individual liberty. That's liberty, or like I say. Anyways, but the fact that on Canadians for Liberty, me, the Canadian Libertarian, I'm not allowed to post on their page. It just shows me once again that even people who I think or I perceived were on the same page and should be aligned in agreement with each other. But that's the other thing too. I also posted on that page responses or replies to their advocating for, you know, Blue Lives Matter, or not Blue Lives Matter, but more or less like pro-police post. And it's like, if you're advocating for liberty, you probably might want to hold back on Like even if you personally are a big advocate or supporter of the enforcers of the state or the order followers of the state, then like, that's your own choice. That's your thing, right? But on a Canadians for Liberty, the administrator, like the person that's in charge of that page, like basically publicly displaying that you support the enforcers or the order followers of the state. That's a weird way to try to, I don't know, like I said, I would say, now, of course, you don't have to do anything I say, but I don't know, it just doesn't seem Canadians for Liberty is an apt or proper name for that page. And especially if you're not going to allow actual liberty, because what's the whole point of liberty without freedom of speech, right? Freedom of speech is one of the enshrined cornerstones of the very premise of liberty. If you don't have the liberty to speak freely, then what's the rest of the liberties that you're promoting or advocating for? I don't even know what the liberty. I would like to ask Matthew if he would have a conversation with me or anyone else, if that's part of the Canadians for Liberty. If anyone's willing to actually engage in a dialogue and conversation with me, I would like to know, what do you mean by liberty? What are these liberties that you talk about? Because from what I understand, and as a libertarian that's been fully or been learning to be fully versed or knowledgeable, or trying to be fully versed and knowledgeable over the last 10 plus years in terms of what liberty entails, with thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of education, self-taught education, right? A lot of information I've taken in over the last 10 years. Like I say, freedom of speech, it's a pretty important liberty, right? And it's not like that with that freedom of speech is absolute. Obviously, if I went onto your page and like started advocating for, I don't know what, violence, but you're not going to get that from a libertarian, right? The non-aggression principle is the core value and principle of libertarianism. So you're not going to get that. So what the hell would you? Anyways, but yeah, let me move on. But I found that quite odd. And just to show you here, let me, maybe they've actually, I'm going to open up the page, because you know what? Since I've sent that message, maybe someone has subsequently changed that. And then I'm going on rambling on here and it's actually fine, right? So I better at least make sure that it is still the same. There it is. Actually, yeah. So there's a group and a page. The group only has 303 members. I've joined that one. I've been on that one for a while too. Well, January 17th, I guess, since I've been on member on that one. But it's the other one. It's this. Oh, here, let me just bring this up here. Let me bring it up here, so we can check this out together, shall we? Let's check it out together. So yeah, this one. So it's the one with the maple leaf, the flag, and then what's that? The Parliament Building, House of Commons, or whatever. Yeah, and it's a pretty popular Facebook page, as you can see. So 62,000 followers, and I believe it's 48,000 likes on the on this page. But as you can see, so I'm following and I've liked the page. And like I said, I've been following and liked this page for quite some time. And as you can see, you got Mitchell Foley, Matthew Southall, Gene, Wendy, Tim, 3 libertarians. Actually, yeah, Gene, Wendy, and Tim are all from the Libertarian Party of Canada, or I think Gene is Libertarian Party of Ontario. So, people that obviously are libertarians themselves and all about liberty. So, people that would probably be along the same lines as me and talking about the same thing as me. But as you can see, so as soon as I go to the page, this is what you get. And, when you go on a page that you're allowed to post on, well, you get the spot. The first thing that comes up is where you can actually post to the page. Obviously, I can't. Now, like anyone else, I can comment on some posts, but look, just to show you. So just so you know, like I'm not trying to misrepresent. This is the truth, right? So we'll let this continue to load here. And as you can see, and here's the other thing. Actually, it's so funny because look, This is the pinned post to the page. So check this out. This is the pinned post to the page. If the natural tendencies of mankind are so bad that it is not safe to permit people to be free, how is it that the tendencies of these organizations are always good? Do not the legislators and their appointed agents also belong to the human race? Or do they believe that they themselves are made of a finer clay than the rest of mankind? Frederick Bastiat. So basically, and of course I've liked that. So basically, I mean, exactly. You can't, basically, if people say, oh, well, you need government to protect good people from the bad people in society. But basically, like Frederick Bastiat, and I say the pin post on this page is suggesting, well, if there's bad people and you're worried about them, the last thing you want to do is set up this thing called the state or government where the bad people will gravitate to and have full use and monopoly of power, not just, their individual use of that power and them have to individually be held accountable or responsible for using their personal power, right? Their arms or their head or whatever. But no, they get entrenched political power, ideological power, right? The power of the state, right? The power of persuasion, the power of influence, all that it comes with being part of the political / ruling class. So yeah, if you're one of those people that say, well, people just can't be trusted, well, then don't give them an area or an entity, right? Or they can gravitate to do nefarious deeds, not just by themselves individually towards, individual actors in society, but on a grand scale in terms of government towards millions and millions of people, right? So weird. So weird. And anyways, so yeah, like I say, so that was the and then once again, finer. And so and the other thing that the next post on there is talking about Leslyn Lewis. So this is the Conservative Party race. So I don't know. The Conservative Party is not much about liberty, right? Not the Conservative Party in Canada. So I don't know why you would even be, if that's a big thing. But then, of course, more about the Leslyn Lewis. Oh, okay. That's funny. New game show for college students. Sorry, Jeanette, when it's correct was. So anyways, like I say, as you can see, I mean, you can comment on the post, but very, very closed off. The actual page is prevented from, they just can't trust people with their freedom of speech, right? Canadians for Liberty, who are the administrators of this page, obviously feel that they just can't trust the people who frequent their page from posting things, right? So promoters of liberty, nah, I wouldn't say not really. I mean, probably like to pretend as such, but not really. UN deletes tweets supporting Antifa thugs after anti-Antifa stuff. Statue's gone. Pigeons forced to publish. Okay. Here we go. See, there's another one. And this one was just 10 hours ago. The same people who want to defund the police just a few years ago told you that you don't need guns because you have the police. Okay, some people are, but see, that's the thing. Some people aren't saying that. See, this is Canadians for Liberty. Some people, like I say defund the police. Like, why would you want to just reference one person or these leftists as saying that they're the ones that want? I want to defund the police too. I agree with them. And no, I'm not. A few years ago, didn't say that you don't need guns because you have the police. I've never said that. So why use a collective statement in such a manner when you know that's not true, especially on a liberty-oriented page? Wow. Anyways, okay, let's see. Because yeah, there's more. Yeah, the government today is the direct result of you choosing the lesser of two evils for generations. I've shared that meme. That meme is old as hell. It's years old. Many years old. That meme is. But that is true. But yet it's all about voting, right? See, so far, right? There's no vacate the state or let's end the state or let's get people stop believing that they need the state to get by. Like none of that. No Canadians for Liberty is like, the government today is the direct result of you choosing lesser of two evils for generations. But hey, Leslyn Lewis for the Conservative Party of Canada, which is basically representative of the establishment of that libcon duopoly, that lesser of two evils that Canadians have been voting on, right, for generations, right? I don't know. Like I say, consistency matters, man. Consistency matters. But anyways, like I say, so that was just one, and that was from today. I just wanted to show that that's not the only one. Oh, here we go. What's this? Canadians for Liberty. So I pulled up the car wash tonight, and there were two officers there. My baby son said, "Dad, don't pull up. They're going to shoot you." So what am I supposed to do? Teach love over hate. So I mean, good. That's very good of this this gentleman, right? To try to do that. But once again, that doesn't change. This does not change the reality that other people have lived under the, not just like I say, the racist tendencies of some of the people in the police force, but the authoritarian, corrupt, and petty and tyrannical aspects of what it is to be an enforcer of the state. So, like, this is a good little photo op, right? But what do you think that photo op just well all the police must, let's keep the fund. Matter of fact, let's not just keep the police funded. Let's ramp up the funding, right? Because someone took a photo op with a couple cops, but these very same cops, this guy could be fucking shot by them the very next day, if he was in a completely different scenario or situation where he wasn't bowing or yielding to their authority, right? Or let's say he had a little reefer in the side of his car or something, and he lived in a state where it's still illegal to smoke cannabis or to have cannabis, in your vehicle or any of this stuff. So anyways, like, wow. Canadians for Liberty. Like I say, that's not all. Not all. If it was just a one-off, I'd be like, okay, maybe. And once again, Leslyn Lewis. So big fan of the Conservative Party. Big fans of the Conservative Party here. Okay, where else? What's this? This is not to take away from real police brutality that does happen. This is about dispelling the fear levels created by lazy sensei. Below is what journalists should look like. For anyone interested, a police officer did the legal work and legwork. Oh, that's a big full reading. Okay, I'll have to check on that one in a bit. There we go. Yeah. Cop lives matter. If you watch, you'll see what some would call excessive force. But I ask if the criminal. So once again, who in the hell would even suggest that criminals don't act out criminally and do bad things themselves, right? But what's your fucking point? To me, this is like, when you're doing this here, let me just clarify. Like I say, it's not that I don't think that there should be such thing as people who protect and serve the public. 100%, right? 100%. But when you're doing this shit, when you're doing this, you're making a political statement. And even though you don't recognize or realize it, and I get you're trying to hedge your bets, right? Even with that other post, trying to hedge your bets, trying to play up the positive roles of police and all that stuff. But once again, they are enforcers of the fucking state. Would you have done it? Like, if you're willing to do this now, would you ask yourself the same question? Whoever keeps doing this on Canadian for Liberty, if they ever get a chance to watch this stream, would you be doing this stuff? No, like functioning under the Nazi regime or under the communist regime, whether it's in China or Russia or any other authoritarian regime? Because yes, we're functioning under an authoritarian regime. Make no mistake about it. Just because there's not as much violence taking place, well, that's why the only reason why there's not much violence taking place currently is because the people are very docile and conformist and not challenging the power of their authorities or the state. If they were, then you would see where the real violence would come from, right? Then you would see, then the blinders would come off and be like, ooh, there it is. Okay, there's what the state truly represents. But once again, all these posts, it's basically trying to politicize and play up the cop side of things, pro-state. And yes, of course, this person might have been completely in the wrong. This person, right, that's being pulled over by the cop probably was completely in the wrong. Whatever. But I could show you, are you new to the internet? Because I could show you countless more examples where the cops were the ones definitely in the wrong and very abusive and very authoritarian in their tactics. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I say, this is why I don't have a whole lot of hope for this country, because even people who pretend to be advocates of liberty seem to be more about advocates of statism. I believe there was more still. I'll just check out maybe one or two more and then I'll move on. But like I said, I just want to show you that. Yeah, this was the one. This was the one. I see you voted to defund the police. Your 9/11 call is being routed to the Department of Peace and Unicorns. They will call you back in 3 to 5 business days. Like, first of all, whoever made this meme, and I know it wasn't Canadians for Liberty that I don't think made this meme, or they might have. I don't know that 100%, but I think I've seen it. Pretty sure I've seen it before. But here's the fucking insanity of this. I see you voted to defund the police. Your 9/11 call is okay. And whoever's in, can someone point out just one time? And I know that there are anecdotal experiences, but I know it's so rare that I probably won't even get one. Right? Or let's get an idea how many times you've called the police where the cops actually prevented a crime from happening. Or what really takes place is 911, I'd like to report a crime that's already been committed, or is it the act of being committed? And by the time the cops get there, the act is already done and over with, or most of the damage has already been done. Right? So what? Cops? Anyways, but once again, it's another, they will call you back in 3 to 5 minutes. So once again, it's basically trying to play this game that, without the cops, right? Without the state and their enforcers or their order followers, ooh, scary. Like, think about it. Scary people. Without the cops, without the enforcers of the state, there's those scary people. Those scary people, right? Oh, remember that post at the very top of the page? If there are people in society who are so bad, right? So there's bad people that might cause harm to you or might want to use violence towards you or steal from you. But yet you got a whole gang of people who walk around stealing from people every day, called legal plunder. But because the government says they're allowed to do it, then, like I say, that's legal plunder. It's legalized plunder. Legalized piracy exists, right? Or the fact that these cops, unlike most criminals in Canada, walk around, like I say, with a gun and constantly threaten the use of that gun, or use the intimidation of the fact that they have multiple weapons, right, that they're armed with. Like I say, it's just, wow, it's mind-blowing. And the Canadians in this country, and of course I replied to it. Yeah, and what kind of reply do you get? This is the kind of replies you typically get from fucking people that are statists, which is why, like, what the fuck? The state is always a threat to our liberties, and it is the enforcers of the state who defend and maintain it. Whoever posted this does not seem to have a good grasp of what liberty even means. I would like to challenge the admin who posted this to go to an actual discussion or informal debate regarding the state and its enforcers or order followers. Well, 3 people liked it, right? But Derek Crushmoke Candleseal, what's your claim? Unicorns don't exist. Like, what kind of, is this like, anyway, so I even added this for the admin of this page. Contact me through my Canadian Libertarian Facebook page if you are willing to engage in a conversation or informal debate regarding this meme. And I will perceive, and what I perceive as your reverence for the enforcers of the state. I think this is a topic of discussion worthy of a deep dive into some of the concepts and premises espoused by those who are ardent supporters of the police. I also believe many followers of this page would like to see and hear such a discussion as well, right? I mean, that's the thing. If you're someone that cares about liberty, and apparently there's, 60-some thousand people that follow this page and 48,000 who have liked this page. So out of those 48,000, I'm fairly certain there's at least a substantial portion of them would like to see this kind of conversation or dialogue take place. Anyways, let me just pull this off there now. Yeah, okay. So, because I soon got to tie it up because I believe I've got to, I've got a phone call conversation I've got to answer. But anyways, let me get into the stream and tie things up here. So, webcam. If you got to just some my fee. Hello, Malice 911. Pretty much all we can do at this point, knowing the herd will do absolutely nothing unless government directs them, is sit back and watch your society crumble. Discussions are irrelevant at this point. You know, you may very well be correct there, Malice 911. You know, it's a hard, that's the thing. Sometimes those harsh truths, they're hard to accept, but if it's the truth and it's observant and it makes sense, well, I'll tend to agree, because to me, like I say, I'm not dogmatic. I will go where evidence leads me, and the evidence suggests right now that you're probably correct in your assumptions, which is why I don't know why I continue. I'm just so dedicated to and committed to doing things that, but I'm definitely thinking things over. Like I say, where to go from here. Ottawa for Canada Day or no? I'm sure there will be many people of all. Like for sure. If you want to check it out and you know, go there and possibly meet up with other like-minded people who are there to petition or protest, you know, the state. Although to me, this whole thing, I mean, I guess Canada Day it's a good day and everything, but I mean, it's been so long in the running. But I'm still glad to at least see this taking place, and I believe Tim Mullen's going to be there, so that's great. Libertarian, the leader of the Libertarian Party of Canada, I believe he said he was going to go there. And Dan Dix. Oh, check out Dan Dix. Dan Dix is going to be there too. Press for Truth. Shout out to Dan Dix. Dan Dix is one of those people I've known for years. Actually, he was someone that actually helped my page early on and gave a special shout out. And I was considered, I was #1 Canadian YouTuber that at that time had less than 1,000 views. So once again, I really appreciate Dan for doing that. But yeah, so Dan Dix. So there's going to be some great peeps that will definitely show up at Ottawa. And I'm still trying to figure if I can make it up there as well. Because if I can, I would like to do it myself. Just for the hell of it. Not that I expect, nothing with any particular expectations, just to kind of gauge support and just to maybe talk and converse with a few people, right? Oh, someone else did a super sticker. Thank you very much, the Devil and the Advocate. Really appreciate that. What would motivate them? At this point in time, I'm trying to figure that one out, the Devil and Advocate. And if I actually had an answer to that question, boy, I'd be trying to do it, right? Because apparently I can't motivate people. Apparently what I'm doing is not very motivational. So I'm even trying to figure out what I can do to motivate people, because it doesn't seem to be, what I'm doing so far doesn't seem to be working. What do you see being the fix for complacency of voters? Actually, I'm not I'll have to talk about that another time, because like I said, I'm going to have to tie this stream up. But remember to ask me this again in a subsequent stream, if you wouldn't mind, Devil and Advocate, is because it's kind of an extensive topic and I'd have to kind of ramble on for a little bit. But I'm voting is not like, the voting is so secondary in nature. Like, voting is not, if we're trying to figure out how to get enough people just to vote the right way in Canada, like I say, it's too late. It's too late. Too many special interests, too many people that are incentivized not to, and aren't going to be incentivized to do so, or to do the right thing. Like I say, they're just going to double down on trying to maintain their particular current establishment. A lot of them are at this particular time of junction. So voting's not going to save us. Oh, yeah, I already seen that one. Okay. Governments don't have money, globalist bankers. Well, yeah, governments don't have money other than the money they steal from, you know, us and that they print, right? Well, the central bank, not the government. But that's the thing, that relationship between the central bank and actual banks, like supposedly private bank, it's such a Ponzi scheme type of setup. But the way they've set it up, it's like, oh no, they're all at arm's length of each other, and one's private and one's public. It's all fucking bullshit, because the government runs, dictates, and controls by the act of legislation everything that happens in private institutions, private banking institutions, and central bank. The Central Bank of Canada, it's called the Bank Act, the Canadian Bank Act, right? So it's an act of legislation. And all the banks in Canada, they don't function under anarchy. They function under rules imposed to them by government central planners, right? By the federal government or provincial government. So that's another very in-depth topic of discussion. When I grew up, I want to be a private bank so that I can print paper, call it money, and charge interest on it. What a shit show. Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. Hey, Rika. What's going on, Rika? Thanks for the lurk. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to, like I say, get off here soon. Oh, that was way back at 2:30. What time is it? Oh, yeah. Shit. That was 15 minutes ago or 45 minutes ago. Sorry, Rika. Canada is a corporation that citizens are responsible for all debts incurred. So when treaty spends, we pay with interest. There's no. Okay, you're right. But when I hear people talk about this, Canada is a corporation, and I hear this all the time, it's like, yes, but who do you think, who defines what a corporation is? The very term corporation is an act of legislation. Government is what creates the corporation. Without government legislation that creates, that limited liability, in other words, where they can privatize profits but socialize losses, like that has nothing to do with capitalism. It has nothing to do with the market, right? Or the free market. That is an act of the state. Corporations, and if you don't believe me, just type in corporation. Type in corporation, then definition or meaning. Just type it in. You can go to Investopedia, which is the business world in terms of the definitions or dictionary for business terminology, or just the regular dictionary. I think even if you just type into Google, even if you just type into Google corporation, you'll still get that. But once again, you can check the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the Oxford dictionary, but they're all going to have the same iteration or basic iteration where it suggests that, yes, a corporation is an act of legislation. So corporations only exist by an act of government legislation. So when people think that corporations rule over government, it's like, well, wait a minute. Government is the ones that created the corporation. So, right? Now, government is at the very core once again. And until that's actually one of the biggest things that caused me and a lot of people on the left to have a lot of fucking fighting and divide for many years. And we could have probably found so many other areas of agreement, but I was just unwilling to back down because I know the truth. But other people, they love to pretend that they have vastly superior knowledge. And it's like, well, no, you're basing your shit on some idiot that just spews rhetoric or your own subjective preference or stance. I base my information, my stance, on actual defined meaning, not stuff that I make up in my mind what the meaning is, but the actual definition or meaning. So no, I'm not going to yield to people who aren't actually function under the proper rules of the game of how the English language works, where our words are defined, have defined meanings. I'm not going to play under the speculative game where I could just subject every word to mean whatever the hell I want it to mean, right? So this is usually where I find problems with people on the left, but maybe some to a degree on the right as well, but mostly. But yeah, corporation, once again, is an act of legislation. Anyways, folks, like I say, I'm going to have to tie this one up. One bad apple spoils the whole bunch. I want to make sure, was there anyone else that did any... Hey, what's going on, John Keynes? Keep it real. Fingers crossed. Oh, cool. Everything in BC open now. Restaurants only 50% capacity, but open servers aren't wearing masks like they're forced to do in sweltering auto plants. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Hey, Ben, you once mentioned that you were into swords and shit. Yeah, I am. I just got my new sword the other day, a katana, and been working on my Kenjutsu. Right. Very fun. Are you into HEMA? Not too much, but yeah, I just love collecting things. Swords, to a lesser degree, it's knives is my big thing. I love collecting knives. I've been collecting knives since I was a teenager. Actually, I started as a teenager. And when I was younger, actually, you could go when my parents moved us to Toronto, when I was just a kid, you could go down. Yeah, hey, whatever. That's what the rules were at the day, anyways, from what I remember, because no one had any problems. But yeah, you could go to like a local local knife stores or army surplus stores or all kinds of flea markets. You go lots of places and buy up lots of really, really cool knives and shit. And unlike guns, you don't have to have background checks and all that crap. So when I was a kid, I started getting into the knives and yeah, from a teenager on, and have collected quite a few nice pieces over the years. It's been recent years that I kind of get into a little bit with the swords, but they're much more money, right? So had to kind of put a kibosh on that one, and actually haven't bought a sword or anything like that in quite some time now. But yeah, very cool, Gato. Glad to hear that you're getting right into that, because yeah, that's pretty fun stuff. Anyways, like I say, folks, I'm going to have to tie this one up. Love the show. You only fail if you give up. Thank you very much, Blunt News. I really appreciate that. Always good to hear some support. Okay. So what was there one other thing I was going to say? No. Oh, actually, yeah, right. I was trying to make sure there was no one else that had donated. No. Okay. Because I definitely don't want to leave anyone out that's donated, because I really appreciate that when you folks do that. Thank you, Wendy. Have a great day. And like I say, thanks for everyone else. Actually, let me check out Jerome here. The way the Toronto cops behaved during the G20 summit should be enough proof that the police are on the side of government globalists rather than the protector of the rights of the DN. Yeah, that was terrible. And once again, Ring of Fire, Dan Dix, Press for Truth. If you check out his video that actually covered a lot of those G20 summit protests and the police brutality that ensued, check them out. Right, unbelievable. Yeah. That was quite the spectacle for sure. And it showed, right? It was a clear example of just what happens when people do try to stand up for the rights, freedom. Derek isn't real bright. Not sure who that is. But anyways, okay. So yeah, I definitely I could sit here and read this stuff forever. But yeah, thanks everyone. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting that I was going to say something too. But yeah, take care, Jerome. Have a good one, Malice. Keep up the good. Will do, Devil's Advocate. And thank you once again. Appreciate it. And thanks for everyone else in the chat. And I'll see you in the next one. Like I say, have a great one. Great day. I think there's something I was supposed to say before I tied this one up, but now I completely, it's escaped me. So I'm just going to move on and I'll wait till I do the next stream and we'll have another good old chat. Anyways, everyone have yourself a great day. It's Canadian Libertarian and I love liberty.